Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. My name is Knight, and welcome back to finally another UNN broadcast. And we're in a new world. We have a new studio world made by Stryker. Very big, very nice world. We're gonna have a couple updates to it in the coming weeks. A couple decorations, a couple screen changes. But for now, we have this, and honestly, I'm pretty grateful for it. I've been looking forward to this world for a while now. And this is where we will be, filming our broadcasts from now on. So, yeah, we have quite a bit to talk about. We jokingly asked for, you guys to have some shit happen, and my God, did shit happen this past week. So thank you guys for delivering. But as I said, we have a lot to talk about, and by a lot, I mean a lot. To start things off, some big Hi-Comm shit. Springer finally got demoted. I say finally because because this is a thing that has been going on for quite some time now. I know it's been in the talks for a decent while ever since that whole platoon system incident, but it finally happened. I want to say end of last week, beginning of this week. Logan, Brad, do you guys have any other information on the entire Springer demotion thing? I know we're gonna get into some interviews about it
sorry
later.
Sorry about that. I've no, it's already been in the talks for a while before before it happened. They were already thinking about it beforehand because of how he was behaving and influencing other Marines. It truly wasn't a good sight, bad sight. And unfortunately, his influence has rubbed off on the Marines in a negative way. Now, they don't really know how to act upright. Although I will admit he was pretty strict with them. He did keep them in check, but I don't know. He really didn't do much for them either.
Yeah. Logan, what's your opinion on the entire Springer demotion?
Honestly, not much on it. I kind of saw it coming for a while now. It just he was there, he was gone. That's kind of what it was for me.
He was there and then he was gone. But yeah, we're gonna get into some interviews about people's opinions on Springer's demotion. So let's get into it.
I am your UNN infield reporter, THEODSTHERO, and today we are joined by our lovely Vox O'Ryan of the 79th Battalion. Vox, I just have a few simple questions for you. First one being Springer demotion. Now that we have a new spot open up for Brigadier General, we're gonna have some new candidates come in and take that position. But I want your thoughts on the whole Springer demotion.
How old are you then?
Well, 24. I mean, I think it all really started with me, but I know he had some issues back then, but I think I was one of the main causes of him getting demoted. That's why I, took up this opportunity for the interview. So, here's what I gotta say.
Well, all right. What do you believe the main cause of that was? Why do you say yourself?
Well, so he was, supposedly using power that he should not have been using for no reason. So for me, I was only in the group for about a week or so, right? So I'm just chilling, doing my thing, and boom, we got PTS called during an event that we are right now. All right, so PTS, right? He mistakes me and thinks I was talking, okay? And I was like, all right, he said PTS to me, cool. Someone got called for PTS again. Someone got called for PTS again, right? And when that happened, he thought I was talking again. So he came over to me and was like, do you want to do PT? And I was like, I shook my head, yes. Like this, I didn't say anything, but I shook my head, yes. So he got all pissy at me. He kicked me out basically the entire event, put me in a corner like a child, and he made me sit there for the entire time.
Hungry, my first question for you is, obviously, with Springer being removed from his position of Brigadier General, what are your thoughts on such a demotion?
I think it was the right call. I heard a lot of people had issues with his conduct, and I personally saw him mistreat and sort of overuse his power in a few instances. I never really spoke to him too much personally, but I think it's a good call for the health of the community, and now we have a chance for other people to step up.
I wasn't following it too much, mainly because I am still slightly new by a month. But from what I hear, he was kind of my interactions with him were all fine. I did notice, and it did seem to me a little, not stuck up, but somewhat close to that. And from what I hear, it was kind of a good reason he got demoted.
Shadow, you're
What?
facing the wrong way.
Oh, fuck, my bad, gang.
Alrighty. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am your UNN infield reporter, the ODST hero, and today we are joined by our lovely 9th Battalion member, currently in ONI uniform, Shadow Skirata. So, Shadow, my first question for you is the demotion of Springer. What were your thoughts on such a demotion of a high position?
In my opinion, with Springer, while it may be sad that we lost our most strict commander that kind of let people in charge, he also kind of did ways that kind of made the server look bad. Back when we had our old RP instance, as one of the people that were supposed to be a citizen, he mostly just yelled at us. He had a lot of the other commanders of different servers looking at us funny, saying that we were ruining the server, yet he was kind of having a little bit of a tantrum, screaming in front of like 5 different servers that we were making a scene and causing a scene with himself, or just kicking people for just trying to have fun. In my opinion, I see it as a good, but I also see that we need to have commanders and whatnot make sure their troopers aren't screaming like banshees in the lines.
Now, Brett, my first question is the demotion of Springer. I know personally from what I've seen and heard, from what I've seen and heard, that you were pushing for his demotion. I want to say the most. So, what were your thoughts and reasoning for such a demotion?
Well, my thoughts is like he hasn't really done much for Marines as of like the recent past 6 months, and from what I noticed on him, like he likes to abuse his power a lot during events and everything. He also doesn't follow up his own rules or like stuff like that. And during the time when we had that shitty let me not say shitty, poorly thought platoon system, was it? Yeah, there were some details that he himself would not follow up on or would just leave out on purpose from Hi-Comm. And and there's like a whole bunch of other reasons. The guy is a horrible influence on the Marines themselves.
Another thing that happened this past week was Hell Week. Hell Week is a pretty big event. I, in fact, interviewed 2 people myself, and we have one of the people that was working Hell Week here with us today, Bread. Hi! What would you like to talk about Hell Week?
Nothing much. Hell Week is pretty much a basic thing. It's for ODSTs. It's pretty much I want to say annoying, but like more difficult way for them to get a free promotion. Mainly because it's a lot of PT, and the PT isn't really easy. I have like seen people faint during Hell Week. I'm not kidding when I say that. Someone like Ballistic has fainted. And I think 2 recruits who wanted to join like 10th like fainted themselves. And for Marines, it's basically like a free ticket into ODSTs if they're interested in a ODST faction. For the Marines, they would have to basically attend the full week, not including the makeup, if they want to join ODSTs without a requirement. And I have gotten some pretty good Marines for ODSTs from that stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's head right over to those interviews.
Honorary reporter for the UNN today, here with Hero to talk about Hell Week. So Hero, yes. I have a few questions for you. First question,
go ahead.
How has Hell Week been going for you and the ODST?
Something new arise from that.
As of recently, it's been going pretty well. I've been pushing my boys. We've recently lifted the 300 rule ban, which was I usually make them do 300 of every exercise we have. It sounds a little tough, but it's how I know my boys are dedicated to their cause. As you can see, I've had them in a plank for like 7 minutes now, so they're back here struggling. If we get 3 more minutes in, they hit their 10. So Hell Week has been going miraculously for me and the other ODSTs. And I hope in the future it does just as well.
Alrighty. My second question for you today is, do you consider the training this time around harder than usual?
With the said lift of the 300 rule ban, yes, it is much tougher than what they were previously. Obviously, when it first started, it was tough in the beginning. But
yeah, me too.
Recently, they've gotten that toughness back. We're pushing our boys to the limit, seeing what they can do both mentally and physically.
It's possible.
I have an opinion.
Alright, good to hear, good to hear. I have just one last question for you today. Do you have any big plans for the last day of Hell Week?
For the last day, technically Friday. I would say Saturday, but that's the makeup day. For Friday, not really. We just proceed with the normal schedule. If anything, I am thinking about making a few tweaks to Hell Week. One of this being today, you know, I'm letting my boys slide a little easier, giving them less crazy workouts, but, you know, I still want to invoke that toughness. So what I'm trying to do now is start it off easy and then end it off hard.
How do you feel that combat has been going so far this week?
This week we only have 2 combat days, today being one of them. So far combat has gone pretty effective with these guys. 77th was able to help us with the trainings on that. We also helped them with their trainings as well. And I'm hoping that both the ODSTs and the Marines that helped with us for Hell Week will both understand like what to do to better themselves in the battlefield and whatnot.
Alrighty. Do you think that as of the last few times you guys have hosted Hell Week, the combat has been more difficult or about the same?
It's more supposed to be difficult. It's really supposed to like make you think outside the box, make you think harder and faster. It also, the point of Hell Week, it's like kind of to make you quit because you got to earn like whatever comes to the end of the week. You know, it's not supposed to be easy. Hence the name Hell Week.
Do you have any special plans or events for the last day today for combat?
Honestly, today we might not do combat due to the numbers and lack of ODSTs right now. But if we do combat, I'm gonna have them practice on their communication skills and team planning skills with their fire team.
What's up, man?
Alrighty, thank you for talking to me today. Back to Night and Blitz Station.
For something more standard that we do normally, our recruitment numbers for both this week and last week. Bread, you have the tablet, so please tell us what those numbers are.
Oh shit, my bad. Let me take off my cocoa melon quick. Yeah. So basically, our recruitment numbers of this week and last week have been 10 altogether. Not a bad number. Pretty good stretch from there. Although, you know, a little bit of some dedication, a little more dedication wouldn't be so bad. But hey, you guys are doing pretty well out there.
Nice. Unfortunately, we don't have any recruit interviews this week or ghosted guides to give you guys. So we'll move on to our next segment. In other news, one of our old 9th members, Jomar, are set to return during Christmas break. Logan, I know that you interviewed him sometime this week. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. The interview was pretty good. It's nice to have someone back again, so hopefully this interview can help. We're pretty excited to see the interview we had done with him, so let's get to that right now.
And this is Jomar, today here to talk about him coming back to the UOH. I have 4 questions for you today. My first one being, when did you first leave the UOH?
It was around the time when that other Star Wars server was up, and like a lot of our own members like joining it.
All right.
I don't know when it was.
Completely okay. Why have you decided to come back to the UOH?
I heard from my friend, Bread, that they made a bunch of improvements and a lot of new maps, and I'm guessing that game modes got released as well. So that seems interesting to see.
Yeah, definitely seems to be some improvements. What has changed since you've been gone so far from you being here?
Seems like we have some new weapons, like the heavy machine gun that I didn't really see used much in maps, and in the MOS system.
All right. My last question for you here today is, what are you looking forward to now that you are back?
I'm guessing maybe vehicles. That'll be pretty cool. Maybe big maps, maybe, I don't know.
Back to our main news this week. Given the power gap that Springer left when he left, there's going to be a election going on, and there's going to be a debate happening Friday. So once this video comes out tomorrow, as far as I know, the candidates are Shade, Venom, Inumaki, and Val. And if you want to cast your vote, I'm pretty sure you go ahead and DM Dookie, though that news might be old, and if anything, I will put a little update on the screen. But we've recently interviewed a couple of the candidates, I believe Shadefang and Inumaki. So in a little bit, we'll go get to those. But what do you two think about the entire election? What do you think about our candidates?
I'm just gonna say I just hope Narcer wins due to his. I've said it before in my interview with guys. I just hope his experience will help out with Marines, because I know it will. He'll treat them right. He'll discipline them right and all that. He'll even hear them out. Will anything they need, help them out with numbers, trainings, recruitments. He'll help out with the experience he has. I'm pretty sure Narcer will.
What do you think, Logan? What's your opinion?
Yeah, I think I'm excited for the election. I like to see that we as the group of people that play this and do this get to vote in for who we want to be part of this and be our new lieutenant colonel. So it'll be fun, especially to have a debate and see what goes on during that. So we'll wait and see.
I agree. Let's get into some other people's opinions on our candidates.
That's coming up. Who do you think you'll be voting for with the roster of candidates we have right now?
Oh, my commander, no doubt about that.
Excuse me.
Nye Empire, or some of you know him as Val, but that's my commander. 79th.
Alrighty.
Commander.
What are your thoughts on the candidates we currently have in the running?
They're pretty interesting candidates. Narcer, Engulfed, Shade, Val. I'm pretty sure they could all do good things with their own things. But I'm running mostly for Engulfed because he's done more than those guys have ever done for the server. He's more made avatars for other Marine factions. He's made the maps so far. He's also been more, lean. He's been more
I don't mean to interrupt
what's the word?
you, but as a quick correction, that's for Brigadier General vote. We're talking about the Lieutenant Colonel of the Marines.
Lieutenant Colonels?
But I do agree. I am actually really excited to vote for Engulf to be Brigadier General. I can't wait to see what he'll bring to the table with such a rank.
Well, when it comes to Lieutenant Colonel for Marines, I gotta go with Narcer because he does have more experience in that. He's been with Oni, Marines, ODSTs. He's led most of the factions, and so far, he knows what he's doing pretty much with his.
So you believe he has more experience than his competitors?
I do believe so.
What do you think you'll be voting for to take such a position?
I'm not too clear on the candidates, but I mean, Nye is looking pretty good. He's already got his campaign posters, and honestly, to me, it looks like he's ready. He's got his backpack on. He's ready for this election.
The candidates that are running for his positions, I don't know the list of all of them. I believe it's Nai, Inumaki, and then 2 others. Who do you think you're going to be voting for this election?
Definitely for the commander, 79th Nye. He's a chill guy. We have a lot of fun in our trainings, but we still get things done, and I think he'd be a great addition to the higher group there.
Who do you think would be the best fit for such a position?
Personally, I feel like Narcer would be a very good position for that. Like I said, I've been doing this kind of stuff for years. I've done shit with him ever since I started sort of milsims back in Star Wars. Very competent, very skilled. I know him pretty well, and I think he's a very good position leader to get the Marines in shape and stop talking about rats. But yeah.
Now, to add on to the entire election thing, we're going to go over to some interviews with the candidates themselves so you can hear what they have planned and what's in store and, see who you want to vote for. Well, let's get into those.
UNN infield reporter, and today we are joined by our most special guest,
Mr. Inumaki. You know what I'm saying? My fellow Americans, welcome to this nice little thing we got going. Yes.
Now, with the upcoming election, we have one of our prime candidates here, Inumaki, who is currently in the running for, I believe, the Lieutenant Colonel or Brigadier General? No, Lieutenant Colonel of the Marines.
Yes.
There we go. What do you plan on doing for your campaign to get votes?
Well, see, I think the people want change for the Marines. They want better, less, hand-holding, for Marines. They need a more kick in the butt. They need a push, and they haven't got that enough from the others, and that's what I plan to do.
Now, in the regards to not really the previous Lieutenant Colonel, but the previous leader of the Marines being Springer, how do you think you are going to fare differently from your leadership than his leadership?
Well, first off, I am also a New Yorker, just like previous man Springer, but he disgustes me as a fellow New Yorker. He is, bottom line, ghetto, all right? And I'm black. I know what ghetto is. And that man is just a phony. Anyways, excuse me.
Bro, hit the cart.
I will feel definitely better because, I am strict as well, but I do not overly react. I take patience, I take my time, assess the situation the way it needs to be handled, not just yell at everybody because, I'm the big boss man. Treat people with respect. Simple.
Those are some great morals, but in the way of campaigning, I hear your fellow competitor, Nai, also known as Val, has already got a bunch of ballots with his name on it. How do you plan on beating your opponent?
Well, the thing is, he is from the Marines, so, he's going to get a lot of ballots. I'm from a different faction. I'm from the ODSTs, Obviously, he has them in his pockets, but that doesn't put me out of the race. Most of the higher-ups in here, I think they know me. They know the potential I have. They know what I got to give to the server. I've been to many places all around here, Marines, Spartans, ODSCs now. I've been everywhere. I know what I'm doing. My fellow Americans, do not let me down. Vote for me. And you will see change. I will make this place great again.
I guess for my 2 final questions, the first one being, do you think your background is going to give you an advantage against your competitor with all the previous knowledge you have from being in such different factions of sorts?
Yes, I think it'll give me a big advantage, as I've heard, not to put any hate on him, not so good many things from him, and not too much bad things about me, I don't really mess around like a lot of people here. I have my funny jokes, but when it comes to improving things and making things great and, just having a good time, I'm one of those guys. I follow rules, I respect others, and I don't mess around. Now, my competitor, on the other hand,
Get down! Oh, Mr. President, get down!
Oh! flashbacks. You know, my fault. My fault.
So I guess for my final question being, do you have any words for your voters and or your competitors? Or both?
Yes. So I just want to say thank you all for who is or who will support me in the upcoming run. This election, I will say that if you vote for me, then you will be helped in so many ways. Now, I have plenty of Huns to give. You will be guided with a Huns for each vote you give me. 1 Huns will be sent to your door. Just let you know that. Rise up, all right. Rise up for me. Rise up for me. Do it for me. Do it for your
And
fellow
anything for
Americans.
your competitors?
Lick my tank. Anyways, let's keep on going.
Well, actually, that was my final question, but I do love your enthusiasm. Since you seem so excited to share, I guess, what would be the first change you would make to the Marines if you were to get the position?
Well, I do have new changes. Unfortunately, the change I was going to make has already happened. But the first change I will say is definitely the recruitment. The recruitment needs to change. I think it's been very lackluster the way it happens. You know, these Marines don't know how to recruit people properly. They need to be shown how to recruit people properly. Instead of just plopping down a portal and telling people to run inside. That's kidnapping. We don't do that. We don't do that here.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am your UNN infield reporter here with another candidate in the running for the Lieutenant Colonel of Marines, also known as the previous commander or captain. I don't remember which one. My apologies. Of the 20 now closed commander, the now closed 21st faction, Shade Fang. So, Shade, my first question for you is, one, what kind of change? Or sorry, blame my last. What kind of purpose drives you to run for such a role?
Being in the 21st almost a solid year now, and in the server almost a solid year, I have been able to be kind of seeing where the prior person in this position we're running for made the mistakes, let things break down, the cogs stop turning, and that's just pushed me to be like, I want to be the change that actually listens, sits down, and helps fix the issue, and not just be the, I want you guys to do this, but I'm not wanting to tell you how. The drive to actually be able to help and be a good fucking lieutenant colonel.
So you want the Marines to use more improved thinking under your leadership?
Yep.
That's amazing to hear. And I guess for my next question is, if you do attain such a role as Lieutenant Colonel, what would be one of the first changes you would make to the Marines?
Well, it wouldn't really be much of a change, more or less of a gather all the Marine Hi-Comm, sit them down, have a solid talk, hear out the issues, and either resolve them with them or give them the tools and necessary requirements to fix the issues, whether it be within their factions, externally, with hell, even the ODSTs, if they ever have issues with you guys.
That's lovely to hear. And we would love some improved relations between the ODSTs and Marines, since that has been kind of spotty lately. But I guess for my next question, what would you have to say to the people who are voting for you? Any messages in particular?
For my voters and those who are voting for me, you're voting for someone who's actually going to sit down and listen. That's
and
really it.
Any messages for your competitors?
May the best man win.
Alrighty. Thank you so much, Candidate Shade. We're going to go back to the station with 9 and Blitz.
So a new segment that we're adding to our broadcasts is Battalion Promotions. So this broadcast is sponsored by S4, the new battalion that is opening up this week. Logan, I know you're a part of it, but to bring S4 into the spotlight a little earlier than I originally planned, thanks to Lucifer, I got a pretty decent amount of information to share. So if you're interested in S4, the new hazardous operation unit, their main job is to combat the flood, and they transport and defend chemical weapons, and they also have flamethrower units. So if you're a Marine and interested in flamethrowers, go give S4 look at. We'll be covering them in a moment, actually, right after this next segment. And now to cover something that, something pretty big that happened this week. The liquidation of the 21st Battalion. Now, this has been something that has been talked out for quite some time now, and is finally, taken effect. Um, Now, a lot of people, were surprised when it happened, with how sudden it was. Because I believe it was either the same week that Springer got demoted, if not, like only like a day after. But Logan, you were in 21st.
Oh yeah.
You were in 21st Battalion. How does, the entire liquidation make you feel? Like, was that something hard, or, how did that affect you?
Yeah, it was sad for me. I did like being part of the 21st. I liked working with Shade. But there was only it felt like a matter of time before it shut down. And unfortunately, well, it did. And it's sad, but it was gonna happen sooner or later. I'm glad it was done, and hopefully this is a group and a faction we can learn from. Ignore the puppy, by the way. They're upset.
Bread, what's your opinion on the shutting down of 21st?
It doesn't work. Oh, me? Oh, it's about time. I'm a little saddened to say this, but it's been a very inactive faction for quite a while. And the reason why it's been inactive was because Shade couldn't really do much with the faction due to Springer keeping it under wraps a lot. From what Shade has told me, he wouldn't let Shade do any changes. Nothing. It sucked for him, so it was like keeping like an old ill dog alive, basically, forcing medications on it and all that. Fucking damn it, bro! The tablet doesn't want to turn on, bro. Oh, but yeah, no, that's what I think.
I think you need to press the on switch.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Let's get to some people's opinions on the liquidation of 21st.
21st getting just completely eradicated at the end of this event.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
Considering I'm a little new here, I don't really know that much. It's kind of surprising that a whole entire faction just gets absolutely wiped off of the face of the earth. So it kind of surprises me. I didn't know if they were doing good or not, or if they're just not as active as they should have been. But it's, I guess, just oh well,
What are your thoughts on such a dissolving of a big faction?
It is kind of a sad sight, but at the same time, not much was done about the recruitment for that faction after like a month or two. Because from what I've seen and heard, just yesterday, they were like not trying with recruitment. From what I heard, and the person who was keeping it open, Springer himself, wasn't even recruiting it either. He wasn't recruiting for it or anything, and it kind of sucked to see it go due to so many restrictions being held on that faction due to someone who is now not in power of faction anymore.
And then now for the unfortunate dissolving of your faction, the 21st, how did that hit you today?
Well, my reaction was just not distraught, but I was like, oh damn, I just got here type deal. Yeah, it sucks, but I guess it was kind of small as the runt pretty much of the factions. It was on the smaller end, so I guess it was a long time coming.
I guess as a bonus question for you being a 21st member, what faction do you think you'll be moving to now that your faction has dissolved?
The 19th is already on their way, and they want me. They just want me, as simple as.
What were your thoughts on such a long and beloved faction finally being erased from our board?
I think it's good to have new factions. but I am kind of sad to see 21st go. It was pretty well. It was basically the Marine version of ODSTs, and they were always really good at like fighting and whatnot. It's sad to see them go, but it's also good to see new factions popping up and whatnot.
The dissolving of 21st has been long since planned and now finally enacted on. So, what are your thoughts on that?
That's something I wasn't personally following. I sort of learned about it today as it happened. I think it's good to kind of out with the old and with the new. We have a brand new faction starting out. We got some new drip on the floor. New events are seeing new armor coming out. Keeping things fresh is a great way to get people involved. And I've seen many people racing to recruit the old members of that faction. So it's just sort of stoking interaction, and I think it's a good thing.
Now, something.
Oh, wait, I might. Oh, shit. My bad.
Well, you sold.
I sold, my bad. I see you slow turning, don't you fucking dare. Alright, I'm gonna shut up now.
Now, something we've talked about briefly throughout this broadcast is S4. S4 is the new battalion that opened up instead of, in the stead of the 21st Battalion, and is run by Lucifer and Logan, who seems to have gone missing throughout things. So we can't exactly get his opinion on things right now. But we do have an interview with the both of them coming up right now. But
I can't stop
Red,
losing in
what do you-
Clash, bro. Fuck. They won't fucking do anything, bro. These Mecha Knights.
What do you think about S4, Brad? I know you actually had some mixed feelings about them, but go ahead.
Not mixed feelings, just more like a small opinion. I feel like before opening up the faction, they should have like waited a little longer for like more members to come into the server. Like they said the same they did with like 13th with Tony, aka Lurch. They had him like get 6 members before he can open up the faction like officially. From what I've heard from Logan, they have the faction was kind of open, but they had to get the members before actually participating in anything, which seemed a little weird. He agreed from what I understood. But yeah. A little more time on the opening for factions should be a little better.
All right, well, let's get into our interview with the leaders of S4. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Knight, and today I will be interviewing Logan and Lucifer on the new S4 battalion that recently opened up. In the wake of 21st's liquidation, a new battalion, new Marine battalion opened up, and it's led by our very own Logan and Lucifer. So, we'll be asking them a couple different questions today. But to start things off, Lucifer, how do you feel about your battalion? S4 just now opening up. Do you have high hopes for it? Do you think you guys are gonna be able to overshadow what was 21st?
I have extreme high hopes for this due to the fact we have just officially hit our 5-member mark. So we have the startups what we need. We have new avatars coming in to replace the old S4 avatars that, anyone who has been in UOH for that long knows where these came from. I personally don't. And I do think we can live up to what 21st was and exceed that.
Awesome. I like the enthusiasm that you have going on. Now, Logan, speaking of 21st, that was a battalion that you were a part of for a while. How do you feel about their liquidation? Like, has that affected you at all? What's going on with that? How do you feel about it?
It was a pretty rough one. I mean, losing the faction I was a part of was pretty sucky, especially because I loved working under Shade. He was really good at what he did. Though I'm excited that I have the opportunities now to work within S4 and hopefully help within the server.
Awesome. So a question for the both of you. With the timing of 21st Battalion closing and you guys opening, do you feel like that would, do you feel like that would be an issue with things, or do you feel like it would benefit you guys?
Honestly, it could be both. On the fact of it could be something that goes against us is a lot of people from who I've talked to and who I've heard talk are not necessarily uneasy, but what's the word for it? Just not understanding why we've opened up a new faction just when other one's been closed, which I can understand. But a way it can be beneficial is, hey, new faction, new faces, maybe can boost the ranks of UOH, stuff like that.
Awesome. Logan, what's your take on it?
Yeah, I agree with Lucifer on it. I mean, the people have had a point. Like, we closed the faction down and we opened the new one really, really fast. In fact, it was almost the same day, and it doesn't, closing one down because of lack of members to just open another one up can be an issue. Though me and Lucifer are gonna try our hardest to bring members, not just to our battalion, but to the server, to grow the server up, and hopefully even be able to open up older factions as well over time. So it's definitely a bit of a hindrance, but I think it's also a good way to show what we can do.
Awesome. I love that. So, Lucifer, a question I should have asked in the beginning. Can you give us some details about S4? What are you guys all about? I've heard from a couple different people that you guys are like hazardous operations. You mind specifying on that stuff for us a
Yes,
little bit?
we are hazardous operations. Our main objective is to combat the flood wherever and whenever it appears on whichever colony or planet. We are actually the first Marine faction to ever get the go-ahead for a Hellbringer division inside of it. We're going to be allowed 2 Hellbringers within the S4 to be able to put into fire teams and stuff like that. So they will be training with ODSCs, but they will also be doing Marine trainings and stuff like that. And then, like I said, we have new avatars coming in by Engulfed himself. He is working to see what he can do and see what he can, kind of build together for S4 to give it a new face.
Awesome. I personally can't wait to see, the new avatars and just the battalion you guys, grow together. I feel like you guys have some really great potential going into this. And I just can't wait to see you guys grow, maybe sometime later down the road we can interview you guys again once things are different. But that's going to wrap us up for this interview. I will see you guys back in the studio.
Alrighty, and then the opening of S4, new faction. Thoughts on that?
New opportunities for a lot of people.
I don't know.
That's about it for me.
The S4 battalion. What are your thoughts on them, especially the leaders, Lucifer as the commander and Logan as the captain?
I say it's fine that people want to open up their factions, but if we're gonna have new factions being opened, especially right after one gets closed, I feel like we should wait for like more members to come into the server, like get more recruits in and stuff like that. So at least when the faction is opened up, it's more prepared. So that way they aren't relying on like weekly recruitment runs just to get their like new members in. Because right now
so you
it's
feel
just
like their player retention is going to be poor.
For the meantime, yeah, it's gonna be like that for a while.
The opening of S4, the newest faction on the line.
I mean, I think it looks good. I like the desert tan they got going on in terms of armor. Drip is there. They got good starts with I think Logan and oh geez, who else? I forgot. Logan and the other guy who started it up. I think they're gonna be great for it. and the drip is fire. The leadership already looks good. So time will tell, but it's overall looking good.
My final question for you: the new faction that has opened up, the S4s. What are your thoughts on them and opening up as 21st dissolves?
Like I said, I think it's good. Out with the old and with the new. It's kind of like a recycling program. I like their armor. It looks good. They got the Spirit of Fire. I think that's sweet. We'll have to see what happens with that group and sort of what community they build and what they bring to the table.
And the S4, what are your thoughts on them and their leadership? Commander being Lucifer and their captain being Logan.
I think S4 could go into new places as long as they don't fall into the same trap that 21st did with being inactive or not properly promoting themselves. I've seen Lucifer. I got him in here from a TFR Star Wars server. He's pretty competent as well. Same with Logan. I feel like those two can both make that server or that faction grow if they properly care and attend for it. And while I don't think we should be replacing one faction with another instantaneously, I think if they do proper advertising, they can grow their faction pretty rapidly because we're always looking for new and better Marines.
I completely agree. If they don't get caught in the same trap of the player retention that 21st was in, their faction will be good. If also maybe better than 21st.
Yep.
Alrighty, thank you so much. That was my last question. We're gonna go back to the station with Knight and Blitz.
Oh, shoot him up, SA!
Thank you, Dolan.
Oh my god!
Well, that's going to conclude our broadcast for this week. I appreciate all of you guys for waiting as long as you do. And as always, thank you for tuning by.
It was a blast, fellas. Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course.
That's the news!
Thanks for watching.